Today's critique focuses on the digital footprint and website copy for Randolph Mobility and Wellness, a medical equipment supplier operating since 1999.
Right.
And I want to jump into the feedback immediately because the underlying business here is exceptionally strong.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they boast a 4.9-star rating, right?
Exactly. A 4.9-star rating, over 80,000 clients helped, and they have all these prestigious credentials, like RESNA, NRRTS, and ATP.
Yeah, that's top-tier stuff. So our tone today is going to be highly respectful and encouraging, focusing strictly on elevating the digital presentation.
Right, because we just need to ensure the website accurately reflects this top-tier real-world excellence. So a key theme running through this material seems to be the deep, human-centered care Kenton, Malia, and the entire team provide.
Yeah, that really shines through when you actually dig into it.
It does. I mean, reading their actual Google reviews, you uncover these incredibly moving stories.
Oh, like the one with Greg Slabowski?
Yes, exactly. Greg talks about how Kenton measured and ordered his chair, fitted it perfectly, and then
actually went out to his car.
Right! He came out to the car in the parking lot just to make absolutely sure the transition to the new chair worked seamlessly.
That is just, that's incredible service.
It really is. And you read about Debbie and Timmy, who highlighted how the team took extra time to ensure every single element was fitted properly for a new power chair.
It's an extraordinary level of patient support, really.
It is. But here's the issue. When you land on their digital homepage, it feels like reading a highly technical manual for a product that is actually a warm, life-changing personal service.
Building on that point, what if we looked at it from the perspective of a terrified first-time customer?
Okay, yeah. I like that.
Because the digital storefront buries the most compelling asset of the business, which is the deeply personalized, human-centered expertise highlighted in those customer reviews.
Yeah, it's totally buried.
Right now, the weakness is that the website copy leads with this somewhat generic technical phrasing. It says something like, find manual, complex, and power wheelchair options.
Right, which sounds very sterile.
Exactly. That completely fails to capture the exceptional, hands-on, emotionally resonant care that drives their 4.9-star reputation.
So how do we fix that disconnect?
Well, the suggestion here is that you have to realign the opening digital messaging. You need to immediately foreground the high-touch, personalized service and the real human stories that differentiate the business from faceless competitors.
I love that, so bring the humans to the front.
Exactly. For some concrete examples, instead of leading with equipment categories, swap out the main header for a powerful testimonial-driven hook.
Oh, like using one of those Google reviews?
Yeah, perhaps utilizing a quote about Kenton's meticulous custom fittings. Alternatively, you could move the impressive statistic of empowering over 80,000 individuals much higher up the page to instantly establish trust.
That makes a lot of sense.
And obviously note that these are just a few out of all possible ways of solving this alignment problem, but the core fix is putting the human element first.
Yeah, because there is a massive psychological difference between selling a commodity and offering a relationship.
Oh, completely.
When a family is in the market for complex rehab technology, custom power chairs, sophisticated mobility lifts.
They aren't just buying a gadget off a shelf.
No, they aren't. They are navigating a major, often frightening life transition. The buyer in this space is incredibly vulnerable.
Right. They need an expert guide.
Exactly. If the first text they read is purely mechanical jargon about turn radius and battery life, their brain perceives a medical hurdle, not a supportive solution.
Yeah, it's like you are asking the user to do all the heavy lifting of figuring out if you actually care about them.
Right.
When a vulnerable person lands on this site, their primary underlying anxiety is, will these people take care of me, or am I just an invoice number?
That is the big question.
And if the first thing they encounter is the story of a technician walking out to the parking lot to ensure a perfect fit, you've instantly answered that deeper emotional question.
Boom. Trust established.
Exactly. Technical specifications only matter after trust is established. The current copy attempts to establish trust through inventory, assuming that proving they have the right equipment is somehow enough.
But in the medical support field, inventory is just the baseline requirement, right?
Right. The real differentiator is the care delivery.
You want that digital handshake to be as warm and reassuring as the physical one you receive when you walk through their front doors.
Perfectly said.
Now, establishing that the core message must shift from technical inventory to human-centered expertise. That's really only the first step.
We also have to address how that message is architected on the page.
Yeah, because if you scroll down their homepage right now, you hit a massive visual roadblock.
Oh, the repeating text.
Yes. There is a sequence of 5 distinct text blocks, stacked one right after the other, and they all say the exact same thing.
It's a bit overwhelming.
It is. Let's look closely at the section discussing this visual layout. I actually want to push back a little on the idea that this is inherently a bad thing.
Oh, okay, let's hear it.
Well, advertising relies heavily on repetition, right? We hear the same slogans constantly because repetition ensures the message sticks.
Sure.
So while the messaging itself definitely needs more human touch, doesn't the sheer repetition of "find your new beginning" at least ensure the user knows exactly what the company sells?
That's clearly laid out. I wonder, though, if we've considered how that actually functions on a digital interface versus a billboard.
Ah, okay.
Because the website's structural repetition creates unnecessary friction for users seeking immediate, clear navigation.
So it's getting in the way.
Exactly. The weakness here is that there are 5 consecutive, identical blocks of text reading "Find your new beginning," "We help our customers live their lives in motion," and they're just stacking up at the top of the content hierarchy.
Right, it pushes everything else down.
Yeah, which clutters the interface, creates redundancy, and honestly, it dilutes the impact of the primary value proposition.
It loses its punch. So what's the suggestion?
You need to streamline the homepage architecture to guide the visitor smoothly from a single definitive hero statement directly into distinct, easy-to-navigate service silos.
Okay, give me some concrete examples of how to do that.
Well, you could consolidate the repeating headers into one master welcome section. And then, below that, utilize distinct unrepeated pathways for mobility, red light therapy, and lifts.
Oh, that sounds much cleaner.
Another option is to use a dynamic carousel where the text changes to match the specific product being highlighted, rather than repeating the same paragraph over and over.
Right.
And state clearly that these are just a few out of all possible ways to resolve the structural clutter. But the layout has to evolve into a sorting mechanism.
To put that in human terms, imagine walking into a large department store, right? You step through the sliding glass doors, and a greeter steps in front of you and says, "Welcome, we sell shoes, coats, and hats."
Okay, pretty standard.
But then you take 2 steps, and another greeter steps in front of you and says the exact same sentence.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
By the third greeter, you aren't listening to the words anymore. You are actively looking for a way to dodge them, so you can actually just go look at the shoes.
You've stopped processing the message and started processing them as obstacles.
Exactly.
And in web design, that phenomenon is immediate. When a user's eye tracks down a page and encounters identical repeating visual elements, their brain quickly categorizes it as an error, a glitch, or just irrelevant filler.
They completely tune it out.
Completely. A website is a tool, not a broadcast medium. A visitor comes to a homepage with a specific intent.
Like they need a stair lift or a wheelchair repair.
Yes, and every extra second they spend deciphering a repetitive layout burns mental energy, which we refer to as cognitive load. If you exhaust their cognitive load before they even find the navigation menu, they will bounce off the site.
Makes total sense. The structural layout should welcome the user once, briefly state the overarching value, and then basically just get out of their way, offering clear doors to the specific rooms they need to visit.
Exactly.
Now, having cleaned up the structural flow and created those clear, distinct pathways, we can examine how effectively new offerings are integrated into this newly streamlined architecture.
Right. Specifically that new service they added.
Yes, the material makes a strong case for expanding the business by highlighting the recent addition of a completely different service, which is red light therapy.
It's an interesting pivot.
It is because they've built incredible, specialized authority since 1999 in complex rehab technology, CRT, and general mobility.
Yeah, HQA, RSNA, ATP, they have serious clinical authority.
Right. So my question is there a risk that prominently featuring something marketed for anti-aging and weight loss might confuse their core demographic?
That is the million-dollar question.
Is it too jarring?
Is the connection between the established mobility services and this new therapy fully established in the material, or is that an area to potentially bolster?
I think it definitely needs bolstering.
Because the introduction of red light therapy feels disconnected from the core identity of specialized wheeled mobility and assistive technology.
It does feel like a completely different brand suddenly appeared on the page.
Right. The weakness is that the sudden pivot from highly specialized wheeled mobility and complex rehab credentials to a therapy touting anti-aging and weight loss disrupts the cohesive medical-grade narrative of the brand's established expertise.
So how do we fix that disruption?
The suggestion is to bridge the conceptual gap between these distinct services by framing the new therapy explicitly through the established lens of mobility enhancement, pain relief, and overall wellness.
Okay, yeah. Concrete examples?
Sure. When listing the benefits of red light therapy, you should reorder the copy to prioritize things like neuropathy, inflammation, and arthritis.
Oh, to directly connect it to the mobility challenge demographic already visiting the site?
Precisely. Alternatively, you could add a brief introductory sentence explaining why Randolph Mobility adopted this technology in the first place.
Like, to further support our clients' comfort and movement, we now offer red light therapy.
Exactly. And note that these are just a few out of all possible ways to unify the brand's focus, but the key is rooting it in the existing authority.
It is a subtle semantic shift, but it has massive implications for how the brand is perceived in the mind of the consumer.
Oh, absolutely.
If I am visiting this site because my elderly parent needs a custom-fitted power chair, I am looking for a medical professional. If the very next thing I see is a pitch for anti-aging and weight loss, it feels like I've suddenly stepped out of a highly specialized clinical environment and into like a day spa.
Right, it creates instant cognitive dissonance.
It forces me to question whether this company is a serious medical equipment provider or just a lifestyle brand.
When a brand expands its offerings, there's a very fine line between brand evolution and brand dilution.
Yeah, brand dilution is dangerous.
Think of it like this. A cardiologist might know how to treat a sprained ankle, but they don't put a neon sign for it in their waiting room.
Because it dilutes their primary authority as a heart specialist.
Exactly. Now, in this case, red light therapy is not inherently a bad fit.
No, not at all.
The technology actually does wonders for cellular repair, inflammation, and joint pain. The friction entirely stems from the framing.
Right, it's how they talk about it.
Because when the copy leans heavily into the cosmetic benefits, which is how the manufacturer probably markets the machines to spas and salons, it imports a cosmetic identity into a clinical space.
That's the crucial pivot right there. By simply recontextualizing the tool, you completely change how the user categorizes it.
Yes.
If they introduce it as a specific intervention they brought in to help their mobility clients reduce joint pain and recover faster from surgeries, suddenly it isn't a distraction. It becomes a major value add.
It reinforces their central identity as a company that cares deeply about keeping their customers healthy and in motion.
It creates a cohesive ecosystem of care. Every single service offered on the website should act like a spoke pointing back to the central hub of the business.
And when the messaging is unified like that, the customer feels secure because they understand exactly who you are and why they should trust you with their well-being.
It demonstrates an intense understanding of the customer's real lived experience, doesn't it?
It really does. You aren't just selling them a chair. You understand that sitting in a chair creates specific types of inflammation or circulatory challenges.
Right.
And you have sought out an advanced therapy specifically to solve that secondary problem for them. That is how you turn a new service into a testament to your expertise, rather than a departure from it.
Man, this has been a fantastic exploration of how digital architecture and copywriting can either obscure or illuminate a company's true value.
Definitely. It's all about alignment.
So let's briefly recap the main points of today's critique. First, we discussed the necessity of leading with the human-centric expertise that defines the business.
Swapping out generic technical catalog copy for real stories of personalized care.
Exactly. Second, we address the need to streamline structural repetition, clearing out the visual clutter of repeating text blocks to drastically improve user flow.
And reduce that cognitive load.
Right. And finally, we looked at the importance of carefully contextualizing new therapies, specifically reframing the red light therapy so it aligns seamlessly with the brand's core authority in mobility and pain relief.
The underlying foundation of this business is just brilliant. It's simply a matter of ensuring that brilliance translates accurately through the screen.
Giving the digital visitor the exact same level of care they receive in person.
Yeah, well said.
So, to summarize the actionable steps for the listener to implement, number 1, replace those repetitive headers with strong, testimonial-backed messaging that highlights the high-touch service and immediately builds emotional trust.
Number 2, consolidate redundant text blocks on the homepage into distinct, easy-to-use navigation paths for mobility, lifts, and therapy so the user can easily self-sort.
And number 3, reframe the red light therapy copy to emphasize mobility, neuropathy, and pain relief over cosmetic benefits, cementing your medical-grade authority.
Absolutely.
We warmly invite the listener to implement these high-level editorial shifts and submit their revised work back in again for further feedback. Keep refining, keep questioning, and keep putting your best work out there.